It's time for the I'll Tell You What data dive.
Can't wait.
All right, as we like to do each week, let's begin with the averages. Last week's halftime report average is 47-39. Hillary Clinton winning by 8 points, I think that says. Let's look at this week. How is it now? Hillary Clinton 46, Donald Trump 39.6, so doing a little better but still down 6.4 points. But what we want to talk about this week is we want to talk about down ballot consequences when the top of the ticket is not doing so hot. So let's look right now at the current balance of power in the United States Senate. The red seats are the Republicans, by the way.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that's how you see it. It's 54 Republicans, 46 Democrats, and they're loving it, and that's what they did in 2014. But really, in this map, there's only 34 seats that are up for election, because the rest of them, they do it in thirds, but of those seats, let's look at what really matters. What are the seats that really matter? And the seats that you see there in yellow or in lighter red color, lighter blue or lighter red colors, are the states that we're really watching. Those are the states, of course, that really matter. And how's that going to go? And how will Donald Trump's performance at the top of the ticket affect Republicans as they run? Well, if I knew that, I could have saved Mitch McConnell about $200 million. But we can take some guesses based on history.
Okay.
So let's look here at the Senate composition prior to the 2012 election. How was it? It was the Republicans had 47 seats, Democrats had 53. Then they had the election, and then what happened? And move the giant swirly graphic, and it says, uh-oh, for the Republicans, they're now down 10 seats at 45, 55. That's what the Republicans are worried about. They're worried
it'll happen again.
That it'll be like that again. There'll be a high correlation that about as well as Donald Trump does will be about as well as the Senate candidates do, and that the trickle-down effect goes through. But is that always the case? Is that always the truth? Is that what always happens?
Tell me.
Let's look at what happened in 1984, which was the worst rout in modern electoral history. Sorry, Bill. At the pre-1984 election, the Republicans were doing quite well already. They had 55 seats. Then what happened? Oh, they lost seats. That's weird. The Republicans actually lost seats when they won their most crushing presidential victory.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's different in years when it's a little closer. Can we see 1996 when the Republicans got skunked but not brutalized? Okay, so they had 53 seats going into the election. How'd they do coming out?
I like this little swirly thing.
It's so swirly.
So, and
it's the swirliest.
Anticipation.
Well, look at that. The party that lost the presidential election, again, gaining seats in the Senate. What's up with that, you might like to know?
I would like to know.
I'm going to tell you right now. Let's go back. Let's look at the current balance of power again. So if what happens this year is like what happened in 2012, here's what would happen to the Republicans if they did about 4 points worse. The Senate candidates in 2012 did, on average, 4 points worse than Mitt Romney. They would get destroyed. They would lose 11 seats in the United States Senate if the same model held from 2012 to this time. But what if it was like 1996 when Bob Dole lost, but not by everything? Well, going into that election, or coming out of that election, the Republicans would lose 3 seats.
Okay.
So my point here is this, and I'm glad we have this panel, but Josh, don't shame me. Don't shame me. I think, and the data that I've looked at backs it up, in years where you have a lopsided loss, ticket splitting goes way up. And I looked at years going back to 1972, and ticket splitting goes way up in those years. Could I be right here that the Republicans aren't necessarily tethered to Donald Trump's performance in such a high degree?